This is the Fantasy Roadshow.
Welcome in, roadies. Welcome in. This is another episode of the Fantasy Roadshow with your hosts, per usual, Mike and Ryan. And we are joined by a very friend of the podcast, a very good friend, Shane McCormick, contributor of the Sports Ethos. Shane, how are you doing today? And thank you for joining us.
Doing good.
Oh, what do we got there? Kiwi guava?
Yep, we got a little bit of the
Nice.
Kiwi guava.
Yep.
Yeah, awesome.
Nice. Shane, now that you've been diving into the Celsius, I need to ask you, what's your favorite flavor? Which ones have you liked? Which ones have you not liked? Let me know.
So right now, orange is still at the top, surprisingly.
Nice.
Okay.
So we've had orange, kiwi guava. That kiwi guava, I would say third. Second is the one I had in Kentucky last week, which I'm blanking on now.
I saw you had a strawberry lemonade at one point.
Yep, that's second. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, non-carbonated, right? The strawberry lemonade.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Well, awesome. Yeah, Celsius, the official beverage of the Fantasy Roadshow. Shane, you've been awesome just tweeting them and trying to get some exposure there. We're going to keep hammering that. And one of these days, right?
One of these days, it's like Baby Billy said, there will come a payday. Hallelujah, what a payday. There will come a payday someday. We'll get there.
Baby Billy.
I love that we just had a Gemstones reference on the pod. That's
best show on television right now. It was. Now it's over, but great show.
Yeah, well, Shane. Thanks for your, I guess, our first recurring guest, and certainly our favorite guest we've had on. Excited for another awesome episode here today. Very loyal roadie, and we're gonna get sponsored by Celsius.
One way or another.
Shane has been the roadie that's spearheading that movement, and we're going for it. But
yes,
today we're talking reactions after week 1 of preseason, and I do want to make it very well known that we are not going to be one of those podcasts or those analysts in the space that overreact too much. There's a lot of that bullshit going on. But there has been some pretty fantasy relevant stuff. I think we're all just so excited to see how our draft rankings are changing. Just talking about real life football. So start there and then move into a mock. We had Shane and a lot of the Sports Ethos members onto a mock draft in the past, and Shane, we felt, won that draft, so want to have him on again.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, we can't preface that enough. Don't overreact on these preseason games.
Yeah.
We've waited so long to watch football, and we want to react so heavily, but hold back the urges. Take it with a grain of salt. Obviously, don't throw away what you're watching, but it's not going to be completely telling to what's going to happen in the beginning of the season. So let's start with Shane, the Cowboys. And we know you're a big Cowboys fan. What did you think of the game? Were you happy with what you saw? Who stood out to you? What takeaways do you have?
So I think there's two takeaways. Everyone's going to talk about Deuce Vaughn because he was the highlight reels. And I think last time I was on with you guys, I said, watch out. It's not going to be maybe fantasy relevant, but he's going to make a difference if they give him 7 to 10 touches a game. And you just saw that. My favorite part of the game was that little wheel route he had out of the backfield where he caught the ball at the 5-yard line. I mean, he's going to make Dak Prescott's life so much simpler because he's just going to beat any linebacker or any safety on a route like that.
Yeah, mismatch for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of one of the reasons why I'm hoping that they don't bring back Zeke. I feel like if they bring back Zeke, it's going to be harder for them to get him those 10 touches a game.
Yeah. I love that you came on here and gave us that Deuce Vaughn that statement, and then we've been trying to have you on to have this podcast, and it just so happens we were able to watch the Cowboys, and then that came true. So that was outstanding. Completely agreed there. Deuce looked great, so shifty, and that's really something that I feel like the Cowboys have missed in the offense, is kind of like that spark plug, So
yeah. And then the other guy I liked, and when we did our rookie podcast, I talked a little bit about him. It was Jake Ferguson, and I think they have shown they can develop that position. Jason Witten was a 3rd round pick. They developed Dalton Schultz into a productive tight end, and I think Jake Ferguson is the next in line. And he played all those snaps with the starters, and you could just see when you're watching, he knows how to sit in zones. He knows how to get in that open space. He's going to be target. Dak leans heavily on the tight end, and I think definitely. He's going to be heavily targeted. He's a guy I'm going to start moving up more into that McBride range. If you're going to wait late on the position. So,
yeah, I didn't really get to catch enough of that. I did hear about it, but I definitely agree. I mean, how the Cowboys always have a tight end in the mix, and I think that was kind of what we were thinking this offseason. Is it Ferguson? Is it Schoonmaker? Who's going to step in? And I think that's starting to be answered. So it's good to hear it from the Cowboy whisperer, Shane himself. Now, Ryan, I want to move to your team, the Chicago Bears, because that was, pretty impressive what we saw there. It was a very small sample size, but, we said we're not going to overreact here, but I want to see your Bears overreaction right now.
All right. Listen. For all you bozos out there trashing the Bears, stop it. Would you just stop it? You saw what you saw on Sunday. Justin Fields, 3 for 3, 129 yards and 2 touchdowns. Not 1, 2 touchdowns, okay? You saw it. DJ Moore is going to be a fucking guy, okay? He is the guy on the field. You see him catch the ball and run like 60-some yards. What are we even talking about, okay? And then Khalil Herbert. People said he wasn't going to be involved in the passing game. Look at what he did. A 50-something yard touchdown. The Bears are going to lean on him in the passing game. He's going to be the running back you want. Dante Foreman didn't even come out until, the 3rd drive with the backups? I mean, stop it. Just stop it. Let's go. Dub Bears, Super Bowl or nothing. Let's go.
Super Bowl, Super Bears.
That was great.
I love it. You need to get yourself an Italian beef this afternoon.
Oh, man. Some hot peppers? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was great. Yeah. I mean, honestly, there was a lot of hype in camp, and we didn't see a lot of them. I hope next game we see at least a half from that offense, but they look good. Herbert, we know that he's kind of that big play back, and it kind of seemed like he was going to be the main piece of that backfield. I would add that Roschon looked good too. I mean, he's so good in pass protection. Anytime he saw the ball, he looks like he's an NFL running back. So, what you see from the Bears.
It was concerning that Roschon came on after Ebner, being the 4th guy on the totem pole there. So there's still a lot of time for him to, proceed in his
he was hurt.
Improvements.
He was hurt a little bit. He's a rookie. I don't put too much into that. Eye test looked like a better running back, and he was out there for a good portion of that game. But it's exciting. I mean, it's just that excitement's continuing to build for the Bears. So, what is that?
Bears.
How does that change my thoughts on them in the division? I mean, not that much. Mm-hmm. I think things kind of, another person I want to talk about is Jordan Love. I thought he looked great, and it kind of confirms how I feel about him this year. So anyone in that division could finish first. Anyone in that division can finish last. There's a lot of excitement in Chicago, and I'm excited to see how that division plays out. Do I think anyone will be an NFC championship contender? Probably not, but we'll see what happens.
I'm right there with you. I know. I'm right there with you.
Staying in that division, Ty Chandler, I believe, had fantasy relevant game. He looks good, right? He ran the ball well. He caught 4 balls. I think the RB2 role for the Vikings has opportunity to have a lot of fantasy relevance this year. I'm interested to hear what both of you guys have to say if you watched and saw Chandler's highlights or saw him in that game. And if you think there is a scenario like I do where Madison underperforms and that role increases throughout the season.
Well, go ahead.
No, Shane, I want to hear from you. I want to hear what you think about the situation. I'm curious.
Well, yeah. So we talked about last time I was on. I mean, you asked like who is the number 2, and at that time I was like, I don't know, honestly. It could be one of 3 guys. I have no idea. But yeah, you have to factor in like they're saying all the right things about Madison. He's going to get all the touches, third down, but he's never also handled this much of a role and this much mileage if he goes halfway through the season. We don't know. So I think it was very clarifying who you could target and that he could be a viable guy if Madison goes down.
Yeah, definitely someone to keep an eye on throughout the season. Take a chance on him later on in drafts or whatnot. Just keep an eye on him in the waiver wire because he could end up having a nice role there. But, Mike, I want to know about the Bills, okay? I know you've been big on Dalton Kincaid. I don't know if you watched the game, but I'm sure you heard that he's playing 100% of snaps with the starters. How does that make you feel?
Just confirms what I think about him. I mean, I think he is a extremely talented rookie that the Bills went out and traded up for in the draft to get. They didn't add any other real pieces to that receiving room. I mean, Hardy, but I'm talking about like they didn't go get a Hopkins. They didn't go. They think that they like Kincaid, and I legitimately think he could be their number 2 receiving target. If that is the case, he's going to have receiver type numbers. And if that is the case, he's a top 5 tight end. So, if he plays that slot like he looks like he's going to a lot of, he's going to have a tight end premium type of stats, which is going to put him top 5 conservatively. Top 3 his rookie year would be pretty incredible, but I think that's not out of question. So James Cook looks good, as we have been hearing all camp and saw flashes of late last season. So yeah, I mean, I saw everything I needed to out of the Bills. I have them as my Super Bowl champs, and I'm excited to watch them this year.
Yeah, and Deontay Hardy seems to be like the slot guy. He played all with the starters, and for the question, is it Shakir or is it Justin Shorter? I think Deontay Hardy has got that slot position in the bag. So
and they did good. They did pay him like surprisingly. I don't remember what it was, but I remember when that contract. It was like 2 years, $7 or $9 million or something. I don't remember exactly what the number was, but I remember being like, "Whoa!" And that's because of what he did with the Saints 2 years prior. I think he was injured last year, but the year before that, he was surprisingly very high producing. So, awesome offense, loves to spread the ball, and I think Kincaid's going to settle into a number 2 role, hopefully early, but at some point in the season, and that's going to make him a very fantasy relevant player.
Yeah, Shane, do you have any other takeaways from the preseason games? Anything you wanted to mention that you noticed at all?
The only other thing, I like seeing. Hayden Hurst in that Carolina game, he got 100% of the snaps with the starters. He's been talked about a little bit, but he's not really mentioned a lot by people on the late round tight ends to target. And, with a rookie quarterback, it's a nice match potentially you can look at for him. So,
yeah, I mean, staying with that same game too as well. Mike and I have been We've been drafting our best ball teams late. A lot of times we're drafting either DJ Chark, Thielen, Terrace Marshall, not really Mingo, but I was curious to see how that played out, and it looks like Mingo is going to be the number 3 there as of right now. Terrace Marshall seems like he's going to be the number 4. So, and then Thielen's locked in the slot. So, I found that interesting.
Yeah, we've gotten like a decent amount of that entire receiver room. Terrace Marshall, we are getting more so earlier and backed off from him. But DJ Chark, we've got a bunch of shares of him. Thielen's found some good value on him. And, and then Mingo, I think we may have a share or 2. But Bryce Young looks good. I mean, he looks very confident back there. He looks like a true NFL quarterback. So I'm glad we have a piece of that offense. I think Hurst is going to, finally get a shot to be have a significant amount of targets come his way. So, Panthers defense was decent last year and they were in the mix. Do I think they can win the division? Maybe. I think, they can certainly be in the mix with the Falcons and with the Saints. So that was exciting. I think Tyjae Spears looked really good. He should, in my mind, be that surefire RB2 in that offense. And Henry, to me, is going to still just be the absolute workhorse. But, now you have a little bit of flash with his power. So that was exciting to see. Pickens and Pickett. Shane, I know you watched some of that game. Could you give us what you saw there on Pickett?
Yeah, well, I liked going in. I had Pickens ranked a little bit lower. A lot of his production last year was on those go routes, and he didn't get a lot of those intermediate, high-value PPR routes. And you've heard a lot of them practices. He's getting more of that. And then you saw it in the game. He was getting a lot of those dig-in routes and a lot of those that he wasn't getting last year. And the fact that they had a connection and that Pickett looked so good on that drive, I think he was 7 for 8 for that first drive for 80-something yards and the touchdown, just gives me a little bit more confidence in Johnson and Pickens seeing that.
Yeah, Pickett looked so good, man. I've been pretty vocal about my thoughts with him. And another thing that, again, I was glad to see Pickett. In order for Pickens to go, I think I have Pickens valued right now in my rankings as him being a very talented wide receiver and him and Pickens having good chemistry. Well, if Pickett takes a big step forward this year, then, you're starting to see Pickens at his year 2 ceiling. And that's, I don't know, top 20, top maybe 15. He caught that ball and made that move on the defender. And it was just, he had no shot, right?
Yeah.
When you see a receiver catch the ball and make secondary look like they have no shot, that's when things start to get exciting. So yeah, I agree there.
Hey, real quick, I wanted to ask you guys' opinion on that game. If we see this in week 2, does it mean more to you that split of Najee and Jaylen Warren? So it was almost 50-50. If that happens again next week, does that change your opinion on Harris a little bit?
Go ahead, Mike. You can start. For me, Najee, I have him ranked where he's ranked because I expect him to be that workhorse there. But seeing the way that it was split gives me a little hesitation now. If this continues through the preseason and it's showing that the Steelers are willing to go to Warren a lot more often than people are thinking, then yeah, I'm going to be backing off Najee. But I still think he's going to be very efficient with his touches. I think he's still a great running back, and I think we're going to see that.
No, I personally do not, because it's the first preseason game. You also saw Jaylen Warren on the punt team. So, someone that you're going to give 50% of a production split to at running back probably shouldn't be on the punt team. But I don't know. That's just my thought. I'm not going to overreact yet. I just want to see that offense improve. And if it does, that that's kind of more what I need to see, right? Like you saw a lot of underwhelming Steelers numbers last year in finishes because of how bad the offense was. So as long as the offense is better and moving the ball down the field, that's going to open up for Najee and make just them better across the board. So, yeah, I mean, that's really all I got. I liked Eli Moore and him get the ball to the backfield. That was exciting. I know, Shane, you mentioned Abanikanda. Like, seems like he's inching towards that RB2 role. We're going to certainly see how that plays out on Hard Knocks as well. It is something to keep an eye on is going to be Chris Evans and Chase Brown, who ends up making that RB2 role in the Bengals. I don't know if you guys have anything to add there.
I mean, Evans looked a little bit better than I thought he was going to look. He looked pretty good running the ball.
I thought
That's
the
the only
exact
thing I
same.
saw. Yeah.
I thought the exact same there. And then Chiefs wide receivers, we're going to have – that's going to be a conversation for the next 2 games. You saw Richie James. You saw Justin Ross both get touchdowns. It's going to be another one of those things where they're going to be battling all off season. And I don't know. It's still I don't know, right?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's just going to come to the conclusion that it did last year, where it's like Kelsey is the only pass catcher you want on the Chiefs, and it's going to change on a weekly basis. He's going to be getting people involved. 1 week it's going to be MVS. 1 week it's going to be Rashee Rice. 1 week it's going to be Sky Moore. I think it's going to be inconsistent for the wide receivers, and it's just
but someone's not making the team. So who is it going to be? That you know what I mean? Like. Yeah. That's definitely how the offense is going to operate, but
yeah,
they're not all going to make the team. So that's the interesting part with Ross looking good and having as much talent. Richie James is the highest producing wide receiver pretty much on that offense, like from last year, obviously on the Giants. But anyways, I thought he looked really good. So that's going to be something interesting to watch out for. Other than that, Dotson looked awesome, played 100% snaps.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. This is how I want to end preseason week 1 talk. I love that they have games on from Thursday to Sunday.
Yes.
Like, that is just outstanding. Like, giving us – it's preseason, but giving us 4 days of football out of the week, it's like, thank you. Thank you for doing that. Let us see Twitter blow up for 4 days. See ADPs change on Underdog for 4 days. But
yeah.
Anyways, I thought that was a really good review. Shane, thanks for the insight on Dallas. Let's get into this mock draft and go from there.
Absolutely. So just to preface here, let me share the screen so I get this up here. So we do have quite a few others that joined us. A bunch of our friends over at Sports Ethos contributors. They're going to be joining us. We are going to be doing 60 seconds per pick. This is a 12-team PPR. 1 quarterback, 2 running back, 3 wide receivers, 1 flex, no kicker, no defense. Quick 13 rounds. And Shane, you're going to be drafting from the first position. Mike, you have the 108, and I have the 112. Kind of give you guys all different perspectives on the different spots of the draft board and who we're taking there. So do you guys, without any further ado, you guys ready to jump into this or what?
Yeah, it's pretty exciting that we got this many people. Make that 30 seconds per pick.
You want to do 30?
Yeah, we don't need to be here for an hour.
Well, of course. I just thought about for our picks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if we can just fly through it. I mean, we've done it.
No,
we've done enough of
60.
these.
Keep it 60. That's fine.
Okay. All right.
You're right with us having picks.
Yeah, I mean, but like I said, we've done a bunch of these and we've gone pretty in depth with our analysis. So if we have a draft where we kind of just fly off the board and picking who we're picking, it's not a big issue either. However, I think 60 is good. So
at least for the first few rounds, and if we feel like it's dragging because people are taking a lot of their clock, then we can bump it to 30.
Yeah. All right. So let's kick it off here, and we'll go from there.
All right.
All right, Shane.
Shane O'Mac. Shane, are you a WWE guy?
Oh yeah, I've watched. Yeah.
Shane O'Mac.
Oh yeah. Underrated athlete of the WWE.
That's hysterical.
So you're Jefferson 101.
Yeah, I was glad I got 101. I haven't really been in that slot a lot in the mocks this summer, so I'm really kind of curious to play that out in that 2-3 turn.
Yeah. So I'm going Diggs here if he's available. He is. Bijan, of course. That's definitely who I would be going, but with the ability to start 4 wide receivers, I'm going to take Diggs here. You know what I've said about Buffalo. I think they're going to be Super Bowl champs. I think Josh Allen's going to be QB1. So I've been liking going Diggs here at wide receiver ahead of CeeDee Lamb, who I have now as my wide receiver 4.
I love it. Just wanted to preface this for everybody listening on the podcast. Check us out on YouTube at youtube.com/sportsethos. We have the draft board up for everybody to see, to follow along with. But yeah, I love that pick with Diggs. I think he's a very safe option at wide receiver.
Yeah, and it's going to be hard for me not to go Bijan when I'm in a live draft, because I'm going to be like, man, Bijan's there, and it's going to be so hard for me not to take him. But in these mocks, I like going receiver early, so I feel good going Diggs there. You can start 4 wide receivers. This top tier of receivers this year is just so good. As the game continues to move to pass heavy offenses, I just think there's so much value having these elite receivers now. So
yeah. No, I mean, obviously if the construction was different, 2 wide receivers instead of 3, you're going Bijan there?
100%, not even close. I go him at 103.
Yeah.
I went him at 104 in that draft. Shane, did you see my tweet from this weekend? Did you see that team?
Yes. Just stop drafting. You're not going to top that one.
That's what I said. I was like, well, I'm not going to have a better draft the rest of the year. So,
no.
All right, Ryan, tell us your picks here.
Looking at here at the 112, I got the 2 guys that I were hoping that were going to fall to me. They did. I would have considered Chubb, but I like Saquon over him. More passing attack, and I'm going to take Saquon and CeeDee Lamb to start the draft.
I love that start.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying.
I love that
the
division.
Yeah,
not just saying that because Shane's here. I truly love that division this year. It's going to be really fun to watch.
Yeah, and this back half of the draft is really becoming where I want to draft from. I love the value that we're getting here at the turn with Saquon and Lamb, and that seems to be like whether it's Saquon or Chubb or Lamb or any one of these guys. Really, I really like at this turn.
Well, I'll say I do like who's fallen to me. I'm going to be able to get Devonta or Wilson. I hope it's Wilson, and it is.
Yeah.
So Diggs Wilson start I like a lot. But yeah, no, other thing I was going to add about the NFC East, we're talking about them next on the divisional breakdowns. But I really am excited for those Giants, Eagles, Cowboys games. Like, they're just going to be so fun to watch, I think. I'm really excited to watch because those are all fun places to play, fun environments, and they're all going to be such meaningful games this year with those 3 duking out the division. So those games are going to be some of my favorites.
After Garrett Wilson goes Tony Pollard, Patrick Mahomes, Ramondre Stevenson. I'm surprised John passed up on Mahomes after taking Kelsey in the first round. I feel like that's pretty that's usually the go-to pick there.
Let's go.
I
was hoping that he was going to be there. So I think this is about the last person a tier wide receiver right here. It's Jalen Waddle for me.
Totally agree.
I'm not getting worried about his little midsection injury right now. So
totally agree.
That's who I go with for now.
This is an interesting pick.
Yes.
This is interesting. I'm not the Breece Hall guy. I'm still not the Breece Hall guy. This tiers of running backs are kind of somewhat questionable to me. So for me, I'm just going to go and grab the top quarterback. And for me, it's Josh Allen, and just get that taken care of.
Yeah, that's exactly what I would have done. I would have I wouldn't even actually have thought about Andrews, but I can understand someone going Andrews.
Yeah.
I would make those exact same two picks as you. That's an outstanding start. The fact that Waddle fell there is just great.
Yeah, I've yet to see him slip to the last pick in the second round.
I know. I would have been interesting if there weren't two computers in front of you that went Jacobs Taylor, because those are guys that we've seen slip to the third round. Have we ever seen Waddle slip to the third round? I don't think I have.
No.
Granted, I did have Devontae Adams slip to the third round in that draft I was telling you guys about.
That was nonsense, Mike. That was nonsense.
It is a live draft with money involved.
Who are these people? I need to join that league next year. Just unreal. Unreal.
All right, so
so a little preface for everybody on the pod. Josh Allen went in the beginning of the third round, then T. Higgins, Mark Andrews, Devonta Smith, Najee Harris, Breece Hall, and Mike, you're up after this pick.
Yeah, I'm going ATN if he's there. I'm not worried about that at all. I think that, Tank Diggs, there's always people that are overhyped on Twitter and just in the fantasy world. And I'm not saying Tank Bigsby's not going to have a decent role in the offense, but Travis Etienne's a way better running back, and he's Trevor Lawrence's guy. So I just don't see a world that Tank Bigsby takes away a big role from Etienne, just period. I think the Jaguars have a very good offense this year and continue to improve. I think Lawrence is an awesome quarterback. Ridley makes that offense have a true number one receiver, and they're just going to all take a step forward this year, and Etienne is, a big part of that. So I'm happy to go Diggs, Wilson, and then have Etienne as my RB1.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great start. Looking good. All right, so I am on the clock here to round out the third round and start the fourth. After ETN went Metcalf, Deebo Samuel, Calvin Ridley. I am here with quite a few interesting options. Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson are interesting. But I think I'm going to pass up on quarterback now and hope that I get some good value in the next couple rounds. And I am going to grab a running back and wide receiver and keep my team pretty balanced here. I'm grabbing Aaron Jones and following it up with Amari Cooper.
Okay. I'm looking at the board right now. I like LaFlemme. He's got a Hill, Olave, Devonta Smith start. That looks pretty good. And then obviously Shane's team looks great, but LaFlemme's got a nice little start there with those wide receivers.
Yep.
Honestly, I like Nate H with Bijan. Little concerned still about Adams. I just want to see Jacob sign. I need some good news coming out of the Raiders camp.
Yeah.
Just sometime soon.
Yeah. Definitely.
All right. So I'm up in 2 picks. How about what?
How do you guys say it? Do you guys know his name over here? ACAD.
It's Arnold.
Arnold, yes. Going Amon-Ra and Jahmyr Gibbs here in the first 4 rounds. Pretty Lions heavy.
Gosh, I don't know what I want to do here, and I have 60 seconds to make a decision. I don't want to go Burrow. I don't really like Walker Mixon. I don't like the tight ends. Hopkins, Terry McLaurin, DJ Moore. My pick here has been Ayuk. I just don't think it's a little too early for Ayuk. Do I just go Burrow because of that's kind of what fell to me?
Yeah. Be hard to pass him up, but yeah, there's an interesting pocket here that you got.
I don't hate Ken Walker. I don't like this pocket at all, but I guess I'm going Ken Walker, and I don't love it, but whatever.
Backed into a corner there, Mike.
It'll be interesting. So there's 4 teams then coming back into this round and the next that need quarterbacks.
Yeah, a little bit of a run here.
We'll see if that last little bit of that tier of Burrow and Trevor Lawrence and Herbert get taken, and Justin Fields.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping I'm hoping one of those quarterbacks falls, but I'm looking, as I've been doing more and more of these drafts, it seems like the 5th round is where everybody that pocket of quarterbacks goes, and I always want a piece of that, but I think might be missing out on that here in the back half of the board on the 5th round. We'll see.
I want to add about my pick and why I went Ken Walker is sometimes you have to play the board a little bit, unfortunately. Like, I would have loved to go Ayuk there, but I still think he's going to be available at my pick in the 5th round. And looking back, I probably should have taken J.K. Dobbins because I don't think he'll make it back to me here. I just kind of freaked out on the clock and whatever.
Yeah.
So here it's down to 2 guys, and I like both of these guys from the running back positions. It's between Miles Sanders and J.K. Dobbins, and I'm going to go with Dobbins just because I think there's maybe a little more upside there to be a top guy than Sanders, given the offense.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think just being a part of a better offense, I think Baltimore is going to be better than Carolina this year, and Dobbins could see some more scoring opportunities than Sanders. But I like both of those options for you.
And then here I'm down to there's 3 receivers that are kind of all in the same group, and they're all going to probably go before they come back to me. So it's between Judy, Watson, and Ayuk. I'm going to take, just because I haven't gotten any of him so far, I'm going to take Judy in that spot. But they're all, it's a coin flip almost basically for me.
Yeah, I think you made the right choice. I think Judy, I don't know. I'm not too happy with the way that Denver played in the preseason game. I know we didn't really mention them too much in our synopsis, but Judy should be the guy there, man, and he should have a good year. So we'll see what happens.
There goes Herbert.
Is he who you were hoping would fall to you there, Mike?
No. I want Ayuk. And I wish I went Dobbins, and Shane just twisted the knife in his pick.
And that happens.
Yep.
Yeah, that was just bad on my part. I should have been more prepared. And there goes Ayuk. Thanks a lot.
John, are you listening?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I'm totally whatever. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take Trevor Lawrence now here.
I still think that's great value.
Yeah. I'm gonna grab Lawrence. Him and Etienne high on that offense, like I spoke when I picked Etienne. So I'm getting him late in the 5th. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I'm jealous. I was hoping he was going to fall, but maybe if you would have taken Ayuk, Lawrence would have fell, but who knows, because the back half still needs quarterbacks here, so it's probably wishful thinking on my part. Sanders goes after Lawrence. Let's see. Interesting players we have here. At the top of the board, we got Kittle, Pitts, Kamara, DeAndre Swift, Dallas Goedert, Darren Waller, Godwin, Akers. Let's see who falls to me.
I just got an update from Sleeper, something we talked about earlier in this podcast,
Mm-hmm.
with Mingo being the number 3. Terrence Marshall just got carted off the field, so that decision may have been just made for us.
Yeah. So sad to hear that for you, Terrace Marshall. Hope everything's all right.
LSU Tiger, baby.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right, so I am on the board here after Sanders goes Alexander Madison and Kyle Pitts. I will be taking Cam Akers and then stalling for this next pick because I'm not sure what I'm going to be taking. Looking down the board here, I don't want to go too far down, but not really in love with the players that are available right here. I like Alvin Kamara after we got news about him. Another thing we didn't mention on this on the preseason recap is Baker looked pretty good in Tampa, better than a lot of people thought he would. Godwin's interesting, but I think I am going to reach down the board and grab Christian Kirk. I really like what he did last year, and I think he's going to have another good year with Jacksonville. Continuing my balanced approach, Saquon, CD, Aaron Jones, Mari Cooper, Cam Akers, and Christian Kirk.
That was funny. The other big preseason reaction was, Christian Kirk played out of the slot. He wasn't in them 2 wide receiver sets. It's Zay Jones and Ridley.
Yeah, I saw that.
Big whoop.
Yeah. And he still found the end zone, right? Like he's going to be great. He's awesome at probably Lawrence's favorite target on the team in the red zone. I mean, let's see. Am I going? Am I reaching on Pickens this early? Probably.
Yeah, probably, huh? Yeah, after Kirk goes Rashad White, Dallas Goedert, and George Kittle. Mike is on the clock. And he did it. George Pickens, huh?
I think you're starting to see Pickens and Johnson's rankings and ADP side by side, or Pickens may start to jump him where it didn't used to be that way.
Yep.
Well, he's just so electric. I mean, every time, we see all these plays he's making in camp, what he's doing on the football field in preseason games, like he's just an electric football player. And, I think we're just going to continue to see that. After Pickens goes Lockett and Swift. Interesting. That's a computer, so not very interesting. Sometimes I look at the board and I'm like, oh, wait, who did that? Oh, there's a computer. That's who.
Yeah, so 4 running backs. Yeah, that makes sense. It was a computer.
So out of these other – that's what I was looking at. Out of these other Sports Ethos contributors, who do you like? Who do you think has the best through the first 5 or through the first 6 rounds here, Shane?
That team 4, I really like the start. And, you can say, he hasn't gone running back, but there's still some great running backs. He can go this round and next. Boom. So there he goes. Yeah. Yeah.
Grabbing Kamara as your RB1 isn't bad. Obviously, you need to figure out a placeholder in the beginning there, the first 3 weeks. But when he comes back, I mean, he's a.
Watch him grab Javonte too in this next round.
Yeah. He's gonna get somebody, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm starting to warm up on Javonte, man. Like, we still haven't gotten that report that I've been waiting for as like they're gonna be taking it easy with him early in the season. It's just Sean Payton said he's 100%. It just continues to get better and better. It's kind of wild.
Shane, you go Godwin. Talk to me about that.
So real quick, Godwin, I saw the same thing. Baker looked a little bit better. I think look at what he did last year when he was coming off the major ACL injury his first year. It was still good. He's going to be, I still think he'll be even better this year, rack up a bunch of catches. So yeah. I think I feel a little bit safer, just a little bit. And then I'm going to go my second running back, a guy that's just continues to slip and slip and slip.
Yeah.
Montgomery.
Yeah. Love me some Monty. Great pick there. And he doesn't go Javonte. He goes Mike Williams with another wide receiver there. With them.
All right, I'm going James Cook. I feel a lot better about my Ken Walker because I think James Cook is like a very legitimate RB2 option this year. I think I don't need to continue to talk about the Bills offense. I'm a Bills fan. I'm just going to say it. This year, I am a Bills fan. I will be cheering for the Bills more than any team. I've kind of always said about my NFL fandom, I'm an LSU player fan, and then I am whoever I like the most and think is going to win the Super Bowl, and that's the Bills this year. So, I think James Cook flashed at the end of last year. I think he is in the position where he either has it or he doesn't, and he's going to get the opportunity this year. I say he has it. I'm happy to have him as my third running back with the potential to slot him in that RB2 spot if Ken Walker, something happens with him in that offense. Anthony Richardson, what did you see from him, good or bad, Shane?
But what I expected. What was bad was bad. It was very bad. But I'll say this: I still say he starts week 1. I mean, there's no way that crazy owner is going to just sit there and sit on him for 4 weeks or 5 weeks. He'll have him out there. Yeah,
like with Gardner Minshew. Like, what would be the point of putting Gardner or Minshew out there?
No.
Yeah. I heard someone say Jim Irsay is like the crazy uncle at the family parties, just talking nonsense. Yeah. The guy's funny to hear him talk. All right, so after James Cook, Nate goes Jordan Addison, B-Shade goes Anthony Richardson, and Arnold goes Dak. And I'm really happy that nobody drafted Tua because I'm grabbing Tua here as my quarterback. I have him in my rankings behind Deshaun, and I'm just now making the decision that I feel like I want to put Tua over Deshaun just from the prolific season that he was starting to have last year. And Deshaun kind of shaking off the rust still. I think they're both going to have great seasons, but I feel like Tua's ceiling might be a little higher, and I'm going to be making that switch live on the mock. And then with my next pick, I'm deciding between I think I'm going to skip out on Dalvin Cook. I think I'm going to skip out on JSN, Evan Ingram, Pat Freiermuth, and I'm considering either Jahan Dotson and Antonio Gibson. And since we can start 4 wide receivers, I am leaning the Dotson side of things, and I'll be grabbing him.
Don't mess with the Jahan.
I'm so excited to see Jahan this year.
Yeah.
He's just a good wide receiver, man.
He is.
Shane, did you hear that story that he came out and said about his name? The fun fact about his name? Did you see that come across?
No, I missed. No.
So Mike sent me this, and I don't know if it's meant to be a joke or not, but Jahan Dotson said his name was originally supposed to be John. And his father in the delivery room was watching Eddie Murphy on TV, and he was laughing while saying John and said Jahan Dotson, and that was the origin of his name. And I don't know whether or not to take that seriously. I mean, sure it could be, but it just seems I don't know. All right, so after Dotson goes Quentin Johnston, Treylon Burks, and Mike, you're going to be up right after this pick. Wonder where he's going to go here. Got Bijan, Devontae, DK, Jordan Addison, Kittle, Sanders, Lamar, and he goes JSN. Interesting. Back-to-back rookie wide receivers.
I am most likely going to go Gibson here. Just because I'm still off on Brian Robinson. I don't really have much to say. I'm like falling a little bit more out of love with Antonio Gibson, to be honest. But I just keep my belief that Brian Robinson's not the guy, or he's just not a good running back. But how long do they stick with him there? It's one of those things. It's like the Purdy thing for me, man. Like I truly believe Purdy sucks, but they're gonna, I guess, ride it out as long as they can. And I kind of feel the same about Brian Robinson.
Yeah.
Well, one of my guys just went. I'm a big Zay Flowers guy. That was going to be it right there.
Yeah, I was thinking about taking him.
So probably in my setup right now, my running back room, Montgomery's a number 2. So to take a number 3, I'm going to take a guy that's got the upside to be maybe a low end 1 or a high end 2. And so for me, that's going to be Herbert, just because of the potential there. We'll see how it starts off, but he's got that potential, I think. And then coming back, I'm going to go wide receiver. I'm not in love with the options here, honestly. But once again, I'm actually going to go against my team and not take Brandon Cooks, and I'm going to take the other guy I'm a little bit higher on this year, and that's Gabe Davis. I just look at last year, he battled an ankle injury, and then when he got healthy, Allen was battling injuries, and so people forget about where he was last summer.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's one of those classic like year after everyone else. Everyone's just super high on him last year, underperforms. There's a reason behind that, but everyone just remembers the underperformance, so he is a good value this year.
Yep.
Ryan being one of those people, right, Ryan?
Oh my God. I was like leader of the drums, just beating that drum for Gabe Davis, man. I couldn't have been higher on him last year, and I'm very bitter at the end of the season. So, but Mike's right. This is just the classic storyline here. Gabe Davis could come out and have a phenomenal season. He is the wide receiver 2 for Buffalo, and we've seen him. He's had a game with 4 touchdowns before. So Josh Allen can get him the ball in the red zone, and I think it was last year he had that 99-something yard touchdown or 96-yard touchdown, and he's an explosive player, but very lackluster season last year. So I don't hate the pick. Definitely not.
I was going to go Elijah Moore, and I'm pretty close to being on tilt now.
Oh, no. Shane, I usually am tilting in mocks, so I'd love to see Mike tilt a little bit here in the mocks.
Yeah. I might go Michael Thomas and just full tilt.
Oh my gosh! Let's just enter the Charlie Brown Lucy football being taken away meme right now. Don't fall for it.
I don't know what to do here. I'm gonna go Rashad Bateman.
That's a great pick, man. Number 1 receiver there in Baltimore right now, and probably for the whole season.
Yeah, whatever. I like Zay Flowers more than him. I almost went him last round, and now my 4th receiver is Rashad Bateman. I'm not very happy about that. Not very happy about picking Ken Walker when I should have picked Dobbins.
Well, after Bateman goes Rashad Penny, then Devon A-Chain, and we'll see who Arnold takes here and leaves me for my pick. He takes Cortland Sutton. So I'm not really considering Mike Thomas or Brian Robinson or Juju. Dalton Schultz is interesting. Cole Kmet's interesting. Wow, I'm going to be going a little farther down the list than I wanted to. I'll be grabbing 2 players here with my 2 picks, and I'll be grabbing Dalton Kincaid and Sky Moore just for the upside. Don't love it, but again, don't really like the other picks that are available to me here.
Yeah, what are we? Oh, I was about to say, what are we doing? Still taking Kadarius Toney ahead of Sky Moore, but then I see it's another.
Oh, computer pick. Yeah, that's the problem dealing with the computer mock drafts.
Yeah,
unfortunately. After Sky Moore goes Jerick McKinnon, then Brian Robinson, and then one more pick, and Mike is on the board.
Mike is mentally checked out. Mike doesn't like making mistakes and moving on from mistakes.
Oh, man.
Mike does not like making mistakes, and he felt like he made one, so it's just been...
I'm going to put a little caveat. Mike, I love when you talk in the third person. So it just makes my draft so much better. I just love hearing you say that.
Yeah.
The defeat in his eyes right now is just so it's wonderful.
It's tough.
I just don't like doing that. Fuck you, Mike.
And there goes David Njoku.
I mean, don't like anyone.
Not considering Michael Thomas here in your 10th?
No. Should I just get Tank Bigsby?
Please do. Of all the people to draft him, please let it be you.
Elijah Mitchell.
God, that would be so great, especially if ETN would get hurt, and then you'd have to actually root for Tank Bigsby.
Yeah. Because I drafted him in one mock draft that I hated already.
Yeah.
Boy. Michael Thomas goes to the computer.
Imagine that. I mean, I'd love to see Michael Thomas come back, and Derek Carr. I just don't know what to think of this Saints team. They're going to be decent. I think when we haven't talked about this division yet, Mike, but when we do, I think the Saints have a good chance of winning the division.
Yeah, Saints or Falcons. Derek Carr's looking jacked. Did you see that picture of him?
Yeah. Yeah, I think Derek Carr's just got that massive chip on his shoulder, man. And I hope the best for him.
Yeah, as he should, I think. All right, Shane.
Yeah, what do you got, Shane?
I'm kind of in the same way. It's nothing looks great here that I love at all. The receivers are a bunch of crapshoots. I'm going to take my tight end here for sure with one of the picks, and Schultz could be the top target leader on the team.
Yeah.
God. Then after this, God, I hate all these receivers. That's gross, but I'm just going to take the for sure guy in Carolina. But I feel gross about it. I feel horribly gross.
That's funny. I love how picks make you feel gross when you're just like, oh, God, I don't want this guy. No, but I think Thielen's going to be pretty active in that offense, man. Playing in the slot. We think Bryce is going to be really good, so he's going to supply some good receivers. We'll see who that is. Mike, you still live over there?
Yeah, I'm just looking at everyone else's team.
Anything stand out to you? You're on the clock now, 60 seconds.
Oops. Not really. I think Leary's team is pretty interesting. He's got Cup, Stevenson, Najee, Moore, London. I like those first 4-5 picks. Then he goes Waller, who's like interesting, right?
Yeah.
Mike Evans, which may have gotten a little bit of a bump after seeing Baker throw that way. Kind of like how Shane was talking about Godwin. Like Evans is a freak. And if Baylor isn't just a total disaster, then he's going to have 1,000 yards. And he got him in the 7th round. Watson, I love Watson. Jamal Williams. I mean, three games are his, and then he's in an Ingram role, which is, supports a fantasy relevant guy. Romeo Dobbs and Damian Harris. So, I mean, kind of like Leary's team a little bit.
Okay, I need to focus. I am on the clock here. Didn't realize that. Let's see. Who am I going to be taking here?
I like LaFlemme's team still. I mean, P. Ryan, like, I'll be interested to see what his role is in that offense just because I don't want to overreact on how they looked, but they looked a little bit similar to how they were last year, which is very scary to me. But it's early, man. I mean, I just need to see something from Russell before the season starts to be confident in those Broncos.
Yeah, I'm panicking here. I don't know where to go. I need to grab another running back, and I go Jaylen Warren. Not my usual pick here, but as I'm looking down the board, the rest, even the next 2 rounds, slim pickings at running back. So like what I saw in the preseason game, and hopefully his usage is there. Yeah,
I mean, you could get some serious points out of him on special teams too, so that's a plus. Like, the other team blocks a punt and he picks it up and runs it for a touchdown, or fake punt rushing yards like that.
Oh shit! I'm back on the clock again here. I'm over here laughing at you, Mike. You're funny. So I'm gonna grab someone who we've been calling my best friend just for shits and gigs. I'm grabbing Jacoby Myers. Let's go. Welcome to the squad.
Jacoby, your best friend, Myers. That's a huge pick late. You got your best friend. You got a dual threat backup running back, special teams guy. There's not a lot out here this late. And, no, real talk, though, the Steelers do love Warren. I mean, we'll see what ends up happening because, Najee's Najee. He doesn't miss a game, and he's had a crazy workload. Is Warren good enough to take some of that? Like, who knows? We'll figure that out. We'll find out. But
yeah.
All righty. What are we doing here? I will take Mr. Nico Collins. I still like Nico. I think he is like a pretty good-looking receiver. He runs good routes. He catches the ball. How good is Houston going to be this year? A lot of that's going to determine on Stroud. Should have a decent offensive line. Pierce should open up the offense a little bit. I don't know. I think Houston can win some games.
So here I will probably do a little safety handcuff strategy and take Roshan with Herbert in the spot there. I will always take Roshan over Foreman just because I think there's more upside there than there is with Foreman.
I agree.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
Then I'm going to go receiver here, and it's a guy I've talked a little bit about, and so I have to, at least if I'm going to talk about him on Twitter, I might as well at least draft him in some of these drafts. Is Isaiah Hodgins from the Giants.
True to your word. True to your word, Shane. I like it.
Hey, I will say that after I saw your tweets on him on Twitter, I told Ryan we need to get him in a best ball draft, and we did draft him once.
Yeah, I mean, my God, if I'm going to do a special graphic about him, I at least got to draft him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, man, Hodgins looked good last year. I ended up picking him up in a couple leagues, and he was a nice spot start for me a couple times. So I like me some Hodgins.
Yeah, Hodgins.
Now, Kenneth Gainwell goes here in the 13th round, who I need to be moving up my rankings after the word that he is RB1 in Philly. We'll see how that plays out, but 13th round is way too low to be grabbing somebody that could be a starting running back.
Yeah, I need to also start taking a late round the CEH. I need to take more of him at the end.
I agree.
Oh yeah, yeah. Same scenario there, where it's like, he's going to be involved, man.
I agree. I am going to go ahead and take Mr. DJ Chark.
I love it. I love the DJ Chark pick there.
Yeah, let's blast. Let's promote the shit out of this mock draft, because we have week 1 reactions and mock draft, and we've been having some really successful mock drafts on YouTube. It's just that season. We're gonna keep pumping them out for you guys. We got Shane, Big Brain Fantasy, Sports Ethos contributor. So I thought this went really well. I was surprised we got all these Ethos contributors in here also, so I think everything worked out really well.
Yeah, I agree.
Deuce!
Love it. Thank you. Love it.
Deuce.
Oh, great. Yeah, and then my last pick to complete this draft, I grabbed Jerome Ford to make up for my not-so-confident Jaylen Warren pick. But, all right, we'll run through real quick. My quarterback is Tua. My running backs are Saquon Barkley, Aaron Jones, Cam Akers, Jaylen Warren, and Jerome Ford. My receivers are CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Christian Kirk, Jahan Dotson, Sky Moore, and Jacoby Myers. Mike, how did your team shake out? I know you weren't too happy with some decisions, but
pass.
What's your look like? Pass. All right, Shane, what does your team look like?
You just ruined my train of thought there. I was ready to tee something up in my head. Okay, so, I went Jefferson, Waddle. Looking back, I think I would have liked this team a little bit more if I maybe went Devontae in the wide receiver 3 spot, maybe to start the 3rd round. This is not as strong of starting 3 wide receivers as I normally like. But I'll just hope and bank that Allen has that differential point mark each week like he did last year.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And then Dobbins and Montgomery and Herbert, I think at least 2 of those guys could be something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Allen's going to have that just blowout QB1 overall point leader. I know what you mean by wanting to go those 3 high-end receivers. There's so much value if you can grab. Devonta Smith, to me, that's the end of that tier break. I actually even have him ahead of Wiggins, and I guess you can include Higgins in there, or Higgins, sorry. So I do think there's a tier break there, and if you can get 3 of those, that's pretty dangerous. It's hard because Allen, I think, is going to have that QB1 year that he's had, 2 out of the last 3 years. But awesome. Well, had another awesome episode with you on, Shane. I'd like to get you on another time once we wrap up the divisional breakdowns for I don't know, we'll be doing like undervalued at ADP, or maybe like a sleeper. We're going to be putting together some segment episodes. We'd love to have you back on. But thanks for the Dallas insight, and thanks for being right a few weeks ago with your predictions. But yeah, thanks for coming on.
Yep, thank you guys. Remember, baby Billy loves you.
Yeah.
Hey, Shane, send us out. What should everybody do?
Buckle up.